What is up everyone, Clayton here, and today we're back with another Skyrim build. Today's build is called the Red Scale. The Red Scale is actually a Let's Play that I've been doing on my channel, which is my random Skyrim build Let's Play, where I took a website that created a randomly generated Skyrim character, and I'm trying to complete the character sheet that it was given to me. And I decided to make a build about it so I could reference this in the Let's Play, so that way if someone wants to check out the build and everything about it, you can see it here. So the Red Scale is an Argonian. His name is Red Scale because of the red scales that are on his face. There has been 11 of these Red Scales in his family since the Second Era. He is the 11th one of these, and each one of the Red Scales have undergone amazing journeys and adventures, but they didn't really choose this life. One day, something happened to them that changed their life forever. For this Red Scale, his journey started when he traveled around the world and eventually led to Skyrim. He was caught crossing the border illegally, and then he was taken in an Imperial ambush, and this is where his story begins. Like I said earlier, each of these Red Scales have amazing journeys, and his is none different. One thing to say about this build is that it was randomly generated, so the skills that I'll be listing off in a second might not be optimized for this build, and might not be the best build in the world, but it's more just a role-playing and to have fun build. The skills that you'll be using would be Conjuration, Destruction, Smithing, Heavy Armor, Archery, and Alchemy. So for Conjuration, you'll be using the bound bow that goes along with your archery. If you do want to have a regular bow as well as a backup, I recommend it because sometimes you can run out of magicka since you'll be using Destruction as well. Destruction is your second damage ability, and you can use lightning magic, which is what I use, either to use a cloak or ranged abilities to do damage to people. Heavy Armor might not make sense for this build since it sounds more of a sneaky character, but this is what we got rolled with, so we have to make work with it. There's one perk in Heavy Armor that is really good, that allows your Heavy Armor to weigh nothing, and it allows you not to be slowed down by it, so you can run around the battlefield a lot easier. For Alchemy, you can use this for potions or poisons, since if you're using a bound bow, you won't be able to poison the bow. You can use a regular bow if you want to go by this. Then you can use Conjuration to summon Atronachs to fight by your side, which works well with archery builds since they can tank for you while you shoot arrows miles away from the target. So we talked a little bit about the weapon and armor that you'll be using, but let's go in a little bit more detail. For the bow, I said that you can use anything. The bound bow is what I recommend because it does a lot of damage and synergizes well with the Conjuration that you'll be using. Since that's the only weapon you're going to be using, make sure to pick up spells like Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning for your destruction, as well as Lightning Cloak, which is pretty good if you get attacked and you are fighting people in melee range. For Heavy Armor, you just pick whatever you really want. I always just use whatever I can get my hands on, and if you get Smithing high enough, you can always make some good armor. One thing I do have to say though is for the headpiece, I use a hood, whether that is like a novice hood or just a regular mage hood. That's what I recommend using because it looks a lot cooler and gives your character more of a mysterious vibe. So let's talk about the gameplay, what you do with this character. So it's kind of just a role-playing thing. You can also fill out the character sheet or follow along the character sheet that I'm using in my Let's Play if you really want to. I'll leave the information for that down in the description below. But the gameplay is pretty simple. You use your archery to kill people. You can use Atronachs to summon beside you, the tank for you as you do damage. And also you can switch into using Destruction if you really want to. The only thing the Destruction would be better for would be that you can drain people's magicka if you use lightning, or if you use frost or fire, you can attack enemies that are more weaker with this. Say if you fight a troll or something, you can always use fire magic to do more damage than them than you would be able to do with the bow. So that's what I recommend doing, switching back and forth from this. And also if you use a regular bow, you can use alchemy to do more damage with poisons. So we haven't really talked about shouts, but the shouts for this build are kind of whatever you want to use since the shout or the character generator didn't really show shouts. Another thing is that the standing stone for this build is the Apprentice Stone, which allows you to regen magicka 100% faster, but you do have a weakness in magicka, so it's kind of a give and take. For the stat spread, I do recommend a lot of magicka since you'll be using a bound bow and destruction magic. If you don't use a bound bow, you don't need as much magic, but I suggest a 60-30-10 split between magicka, health, and stamina, because you do want to have some stamina to be able to hold your breath with the bow. So I hope you guys enjoyed this build. I know it's kind of different since it's a random generated character, but I really enjoyed playing this build in the Let's Play, so I hope you guys will enjoy playing it too. So thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure to leave your own build suggestions, so maybe next week I'll do your suggestion down in the comments down below. Also, check out these two videos if you haven't already seen them already. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and this is Clayton, signing out.